Hi guys, welcome back to GP Reactions. I hope you're well. Hope you've been having a great day, and I hope you've had a fantastic week. It's kind of just now the weekend, so yeah, it's Monday tomorrow, back to work, and just wanted to apologise. I haven't really done many reactions over the last couple of weeks. For anyone who lives in the UK, you'll probably be able to appreciate this. I've been doing a lot of overtime because basically my local council, has gone bust, and which means that inevitably we pay a thing called council tax, and that council tax will be going up by about, I imagine, probably maybe about 20%. So just been trying to get a lot of overtime in just so I can like pay for the deficit, and but yeah, it's wonderful to have the time. My overtime doesn't always like fit in a tight schedule of other work, so it just means that it's bits here and bits there, and it just kind of like sucks out all the hours out of the day. So I didn't really have too much time to do anything except sleep. That little bit of overtime is finished now, so I'll have a bit more time now to do reactions, which I'm really, really happy about. So yeah, just a big thank you as well to people that have subscribed. Big thank you to anyone that has donated and buy me a coffee. I really do appreciate that because it will make a difference to me in the long run. Every now and again, little bits of equipment fail on me, and although these items aren't massively expensive, it just helps soften the blow a bit of having to buy them. And for sure, anybody that has bought me a coffee and has suggested tracks to listen to, I do have a few that I need to get to, which I will do over the next couple of weeks, and I promise that I will put them out on his channel. Um, yeah, so like I said, I'm just so happy to be back. I feel like a little bit of a rush because I haven't done this for a little while, and I basically wrote down a load of bands from the 80s that I'd never heard of, and I'm really, really excited to just kind of dive into them without any real investigation or research about these bands. So I'll kind of make my mind up as I go along. So that said, this is a band I've never heard of. They're called Red Flag. This is a track called Russian Radio. Red Flag are a US and British duo. Um, this track I'm going to react to had some success in the US. I think it was a dance chart back in 1988, peaked at number 11. That would be one of the Billboard charts. And this was taken from the album Native Art, which was also released in 1988. So um, this looks like it's it looks like it's a video taken from one of the music channels. So I'm hoping this doesn't get blocked. If it does, I will come back and react to the audio version or an extended version. But right now, I'm just happy to be back listening to some music. So hopefully I'll be able to post this later on. So without further ado, this is Russian Radio with Red Flag. Sorry to pause it there. I'm kind of like picking up influences from. I mean, maybe it's not influences, but the vibe I was getting was a little bit of a Pet Shop Boys, a little bit, and that's not because they're a duo. Just through the vocal delivery, I'm getting a little bit of Erasure, and at first I thought I was getting like a little bit like electronic. Now I think electronic maybe came 1990. 91. But I'm picking up that kind of vibe. So it's really really cool to listen to so far. I like the delivery. I like the music. Yeah, it's loving the overlay of keyboards in this one here. So that was Russian Radio with Red Flag and hang on a second, no, that was Red Flag with Russian Radio. I'm going to get that right. Lots of R's in that title. Really enjoyed that. It was yeah, I mean, I could feel those influences from other bands, but it doesn't make it any less enjoyable. It had a kind of really good bit. I kind of felt myself like bopping along to it a little bit. So I imagine that if I was to hear it in a club, maybe remixed or something, it'd be a really good background sound to dance to and just generally kind of enjoy that kind of vibe of a club scene. Um, Interesting lyrics. I'm not sure entirely what they're about, but I kind of felt that it was about maybe the Cold War as it was in 1988, which was still alive and kicking. And I don't think the Berlin Wall came down till a year later or year after that, 1989. So yeah, there were still like tensions and Russian radio. I hear a voice from 10,000 miles away. I have no choice. Our love was meant to stay with or without. It's easy for me, without doubt. I spend my days searching for ways. Love is on the go, so is radio. So is this talking about the fact that you couldn't ex- express yourself back in those days if you was in Russia? I'm not sure. And maybe radio is the only means. I'm probably way off there, but Russian radio, how will we ever believe you? Radio, I mean, it sounds like propaganda. So I guess it as happens now, and it's easy to say that it's just Russians that um, pour out propaganda, but I think literally every major power does the same thing in one way or another, and I think generally most people know that there's a little bit of fibbing going on when they authorities and governments tell you things. So it definitely kind of feels like that way. And but I think there might be like a little bit of a love story in this. There is a sound, it's underground. Moving out for miles around, there is a sound, it's underground. So there's obviously, like with most things, there's a way of communicating that isn't the mainstream way, and people find a way to actually communicate truths as they perceive them. Um, yeah, that feels like maybe where we're going with this. I feel our love is only a smile away, getting so much closer to me every day. With or without, it's easy for us. So is this like beyond Russia? Somebody a love affair with somebody in the West, or maybe somebody in the West a love affair with somebody in Russia. A really good song anyway, and I loved. I had no bothers with the fact that it sounded similar to other stuff. It's a really enjoyable sound. And back in the day, if I was on my 10p record hunt, I would have probably looked to pick up something like this. It would have probably entered my collection. I did have a few unusual tracks I picked up. We had a record shop just down the high street where I moved to, and I used to go immediately make a beeline for the upstairs where they used to have like all the bargain stuff. So I used to spend hours just pouring through the 10p records. Some of them were like jazz funk. Some of them were like more electronic. Um, and it's great. It's really, really great to kind of pick up sounds from back then. I might have to. I think I've still got a few of these records left. I might have to go for a few of them and kind of review them, I suppose. As I mean, back then I was probably very impressed by some of them, less impressed by others. But I think as time changes, then some of them feel very dated. This one actually feels like it's something that I could have listened to had I been paying more attention to music in the late 80s, 1988. I may have heard this. I was a big fan of the Annie Nightingale show on Radio 1, and sadly she passed away last weekend, and I was really, really surprised by I didn't see much coverage about it. She was mentioned on the news, a little bit like David Soul, but she was really iconic and may, as I would class her in the same, sort of league as um, John Peel. Although I used to prefer listen to Anne Nightingale more than John Peel. But now I sort of see the music of that John Peel used to feature, and you often hear that he featured this on his show. I see that as is quite important in the history of music and commercial radio, so to speak. So let me just have a quick look at what people say about it, because I know nothing about these guys. Um, First comment: Holy hell! I forgot about your song. It was amazing back in the day. It was a big club song by the looks of it. Very underrated. Yeah, I'd say that if it had more airplay, it could have snuck into the UK top 40 in the 80s. Uh, let's have a quick, 17 years old, me, past curfew. Yeah, again, it's mentioning dance Depeche Mode meets Camouflage. Okay, I've never heard of Camouflage, but that's got me curious. Is there anything about the band? Let's have a look. Uh, I mean, there's a lot of comments on this, and which really really surprises me. But it shouldn't surprise me because there are some bands that have a great following and a great recognition, and but you've never heard of them. It's got 600 plus comments, nearly 847k views. So yeah, I'm assuming that this was like mega mega popular back in the late 80s, and there's a lot of music that I glossed over at that time. I think because there was so much in the UK, there was so much stock Aitken and Waterman stuff going on that it felt very generic. And there's only like certain tracks I was really into, but this was good. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the way that the use of keyboards. I enjoyed the way that I could hear like one synth in my one ear, and then more percussion in my other ear. I don't know if that's the same for all of you, but that was really cool. It's always great to have that kind of. I don't know if it's like not mono, but there is a name for it. Like, and you hear it with a lot of older '60s music, but like the Beatles and stuff. But you don't often hear it so much with modern synth pop and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. If you know anything about this band, or you know who they are or what they went on to do, if anything at all, then please let me know in the comments below. Some of these artists don't always go on to more musical projects. I remember Ricky Gervais, the comedian, was in a band as well in the 80s. So Lord knows one day I might encounter his band's music. I'm sure if I searched for it, I could. And that would be fun, actually, to do a reaction to that. Because I just thought it was something he joked about in the office back in the day that he was in a band, but he was actually in a band. Um, yeah, so that's Russian Radio by Red Flag, and I'm going to move on to I've got about 13 more to me unknown artists that I will just like have a quick listen to, sit what they are, and if they intrigue me enough, then I will kind of like maybe delve into more stuff by them. So for sure, if Red Flag, Russian Radio, if that wasn't one of their best hits or one of their biggest hits, then please let me know. But if not, then I'm gonna move on to the next group.